You are now listening to
Likely to Dispute.
hosted by Monkas, Reed, and Tyler.
How's everybody doing? It's Cevan, aka the Monkas. Join with me today, as always, is Reed and Tyler, and this is episode 33 of Likely to Dispute.
We have another very fun weekly recap and preview episode for you today. Week 5 is in the books. Lots of wins, lots of losses, and we're going to go over it all. But first, our opener here, we are going to talk about some surprises. Not necessarily a week 6 surprise, but a surprise going into week 6. And we're going to start with Yusuf on the tight end 1 landscape.
Yeah, I mean, like Reed prefaced, we're only 5 weeks in, but top 12 names have, or the top 12 have some very interesting names, features. Guys like Jake Tongas, AJ Barner are in the top 12. A big surprise that is started hot, kind of cooled off the last couple weeks, but Juwan Johnson seemed there for a few weeks. He was going to be, had top 5 upside rest of the season. But the big one is Jake Ferguson, tight end 1, total of 107 fantasy points, and the next closest is rookie Tyler Warren at 77. So he's got a 30-point lead already, and throwback to like June when I called him being a top 3 tight end. I know a little self-glazed, but yeah, the tight end landscape weird so far. We'll see if it balances out the rest of the season, but it also is nice to have a little bit of parity. But yeah, just thought that was interesting.
Yes, as the owner of Jake Ferguson, I am a fan of that. Tyler, Daniel Jones is your surprise going into week 6.
Yeah, Daniel Jones has elevated the Colts as a whole. We've seen him be able to support the offense there in Indianapolis, and it's led to the breakout of Tyler Warren, Jonathan Taylor returning to that high-end RB1 that he was a few years ago. The Colts have a great record, 1 loss. Is that right? I can't remember.
Yep.
Um, and Josh Downs has showed some flashes this season. Michael Pittman's had a few big games, so Daniel Jones has been a surprise reclamation project, and it's been pretty successful thus far. I think most people would say, much to the dismay of Reed, perhaps, but Daniel Jones and the Colts offense has been really surprising, but in a mostly positive way.
And my second or week 6 surprise here is the underperforming second year wide receivers as a whole. It was a pretty hyped wide receiver class last year. And of all the receivers going in the top 4 rounds that were second year wide receivers, Malik Neighbors obviously was playing well, but injured now. Brian Thomas massively underperforming, Ladd McConkey massively underperforming, and Marvin Harrison Jr. not really taking a step. Year 2 wide receivers obviously used to be a cheat code in fantasy football. That was the easiest position and year for them to take a big jump. And you think from given some of the historic rookie seasons that we saw last year, that we'd be getting some massive seasons, and between injury, underperformance, or lack of further development within their offense, like just hasn't seen that from the guys that went high in the draft. But you obviously have Rome performing quite well, who was around a 6th round ADP this year in regular redraft format. So he is definitely outperforming expectations, but a lot of the top ones are underperforming, and that is contrary to the trend that those receivers have had in the past.
Yes.
Any other comments here to wrap up week 6 surprises before we pop into the recap?
No, I think that was well said by you both.
Yep, we're all good.
All good. Well, then we are hopping into the week 5 recap. We're starting off with one of our highest scoring games of the week. I, myself, took down the mighty Swerly, my number 1 team in my power rankings, by a score of 165 to 145. Big games from both sides, but I was able to get Jamar Chase back to a performing level, which is something I had not had the prior couple weeks, so that was big for me. And Swerly, with Caleb Williams on a bye, saw a dud from Geno Smith, which really handicapped what his team was able to score this week. So, Cevan, we'll start with you here. What are your thoughts on the matchup here?
Yeah, looking at his running back, I mean, Saquon only got 9 touches. That offense seems in a weird spot, and it almost seemed like they were overcompensating, trying to get targets to the receivers at the expense of Barkley. He still was able to put up 18. It's just that was a weird development. And then yeah, you had a very solid week. Going double tight end didn't work out this week for Henry, but I like it.
Which
Yeah,
Henry didn't work out, and neither of my Henrys worked out this week.
okay,
Derek or
that's true.
Hunter.
That's true. But yeah, I mean, still Swerly put up 145, very respectable. He Yeah, it's just tough to get a loss when you're scoring above league average, and Swerly's in a bad spot right now.
Yeah,
But
so
good win.
Swirly's now technically third, but he is 1 point behind the second place points against. So, other than Rob, who has managed to weather his storm to 3-2, which we'll talk about here in a second, Swirly's just been up against it, despite being actually the middle of the league is also close in points scored, and he dropped to the bottom of that pack. But I know as recently as last week, he was fourth in points scored, now down to seventh. But yeah, just in a really tough spot for him. That isn't really his fault. He's going to have a mountain to climb here. Tyler, your thoughts here? Anything else to add?
Yeah, you sneak. I'd be curious if we added up all the stacks around the league, what the top scoring stack is, because I feel like Jake Ferguson, Dak Prescott are among the top there, if not the top scoring stack up to this point this year. So they've been a huge boon for your team. Not much else to add on Swirly's team. His free fall can continue for my sake.
The owner of his first round pick. And to your point here, looking at all the players that are eligible for the flex, so wide receivers, tight ends, and running backs, where do you guys think Jake Ferguson ranks in total points so far this year?
Uh,
Uh, like
15,
like sixth.
probably higher than 15.
5. He is
Yeah.
fifth. He is only behind Puka, CMC, Jonathan Taylor, and Amon Ra. Him and Javonte Williams are back to back at 5 and 6. So I don't think you'd be wrong by any means there, Tyler, with that assessment.
Yeah.
And I also wanted to shout out Theo Johnson, who's my sleeper on
Yeah.
Swirly's episode here. Jackson Dart likes him in the red zone. Big fan. I'm glad that didn't cost me my matchup, and I could be right about Theo Johnson being a stud. Still get the win here. Next matchup, the biggest point differential of any matchup so far this season. Ian took it to the winless Schrader, 169 to 89, with rounding, of course, 88.65. The biggest dud from Ian's team was not really a dud scoring wise, but Marion Hampton left the game early, now on injured reserve for at least 4 weeks here. And if you're Cevan, only 4 weeks. Flashback to you listeners who said you had to be on there for 4 weeks only. But here he is, 13 points, putting up a great week, getting back on the schneid, 2-3 for Ian. And Schrader continues to just have quite a miserable season here, despite the breakout here, as it seems, of Mason Taylor. So, Tyler, we'll start with you here. Any thoughts here on the matchup?
Yeah, Ian not the only one to lose a starting running back to the IR with Antonio Gibson tearing his ACL.
It just can't get any worse, man.
No, I mean, yeah, good on Ian for getting a win here. Ibuka is looking like a top 12 dynasty wide receiver right now, maybe. I'd have to crunch the numbers on that, but good to see a turnaround from his team. Puts him in a better position to climb back and grab a playoff spot.
Cevan, anything from you here?
Yeah, for me, I mean, yeah, Schrader being 0-5, at least he's got back-to-back higher scoring weeks from Jackson Dart. That's good to see. And then Mason Taylor, granted, the last 2 weeks all have come in garbage time, but he's still putting up good numbers, so that's that's good to see. And then Ian, I don't think he could have asked for a better time if Hampton was going to have to go on IR than Travion. Getting Inevitably he'll have to get more work with Antonio Gibson going to IR and then Ramondre continuously fumbling. So he's scratching and clawing. Bucky likely to miss another week or two. So, and he's got Rashad White. So he's had good luck on other people's injuries so far. So, um, yeah, he's fighting his way back to get to 500 this week as well.
He's also
Flashback to
Go ahead, Tyler.
I was gonna say flashback to when you guys told me Rashad White wasn't good depth for Ian's team.
I was with you.
And
Reed
I
was
changed
against
my
us.
mind. You guys
Hmm.
convinced me. So,
Okay.
Yes.
and I also want to know Ian's coming up on a softer part of his schedule here with Trent, Sandy, Sumner not looking so soft anymore, but K and then Tyler. So 5 weeks
Oh,
there of non-elite teams per our power rankings here for Ian to try to get his way back into a playoff spot. Again, some high scoring losses, is sitting at fourth in points scored right now. Also, I did want to mention Schrader's big acquisition, Jack Besh, 5 targets. Only took a 34-point loss for him to get in the game. So shout out Jack Besh.
There we go.
Also, I'm just realizing now I forgot to change. All these say week 4. They should say week 5. That's 100% my fault.
R-
Don't hold my
Real
coworkers accountable for my mistake.
Yes, yes. Real quick, going back to your point, had he started Jack Besh, it would have been his wide receiver one.
Yes,
Outscored all three of his receivers.
definitely not a ringing endorsement of Jack Besh, I will say. Another high scoring matchup we have here, Cam K putting up his best week of the year by far here, dropping a 170 on 3-1 Trent to take him out. Big game from Kyron Williams, big game from Jonathan Taylor, big game from CJ Stroud. 330 bombs at the top of his lineup will always help get you a nice win. While Trent put up a very respectable week, but starting Cooper Rush is never something you want to do. He gets in a respectable quarterback there. He's probably scoring above league average. So a good week for both sides, but obviously K sees some of the ceiling that we've been touting here. So Cevan, we'll start with you here. What do you think?
Yeah, it's nice to see, 170 from K, knowing, Tet hasn't scored a touchdown all year. Jamison Williams is that boomer bust type flex that only scored two in this matchup. And then Chris Godwin, being the wide receiver two there, still getting worked back into the offense. But so it's nice to see the ceiling with room. So, and he's 3-2. So yeah, the really the whole league, it's super, super tight. I know we're only 5 weeks in, but all these wins for everybody is gonna add up come playoff time. And then yeah, from Trent's side, the running back duo again put up respectable weeks. He's really got something with Judkins and Scattaboo. And then sneaky shout out QB6 on the year is Matt Stafford, pure pocket passer. Um, yeah, let's see, he's got -4 rushing yards on the year. So it's all coming from the pocket, and he's QB6. He's got to be able to support two elite wide receivers. So uh, that's encouraging for Trent, knowing McCarthy's what seems like they don't want him to play because he did not look good those first couple weeks. So, Stafford and Love uh, seems like a pretty solid combo right now for him.
Tyler, your thoughts here?
yeah, we're looking at this matchup. I think both these teams have the bones of a championship caliber team. And I think they could both use a little bit more here. I know I'm not assessing their teams.
I
I'm more
think you're
so
just trying to
assessing.
get them to buy your pieces
No,
here.
no, 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 no. I'm just saying in this matchup, it's like you, there are pieces on both sides that looked good, and I think will continue to look good, but there are still pieces to be concerned about. So, no, no, I did not have any ulterior motives there. It was good to see Jalen Waddle get going with Tyreek Hill not there. A little worrisome that he came out of the game for just a little bit, but
That
hopefully
dude
he's
comes out
still.
like every other game
I
injured.
know it's bad. It's bad. I don't get it. Uh, good win for K there.
I think it's important to note as well, as I was editing this up for this week, I think Jameson Williams has been his dud at least 3 of the 5 weeks, if not 4 of the 5 weeks. Like, just
Yeah.
getting nothing
Yep.
there from someone he really needs to start doing something.
Yep.
Savon, were you going to say something?
No, I was just agreeing. He's
Okay.
on pace for 37 receptions.
That will not play.
It
That's
will
like
not play.
almost as bad as AD Mitchell.
Okay.
No
Sorry.
comment.
Sorry.
And the surprise highest scoring matchup of the week, Sumner dropping one of the highest scoring weeks in league history with a 195.8 taking out Sandy, and again, a respectable score of 156 and taking an L is really tough to swallow in a competitive standings like we have at this moment. Obviously, the big thing for Sumner here, Rico Dowdle stepping in for Chuba Hubbard, injured, gets 32 points on 200 yards on the ground is just phenomenal. Because again, when you look at his receivers, neither of his starting receivers were in double digits, and he dropped the second highest scoring week in league history. So that's quite impressive from a team that we touted as a floor team, both in the offseason and over the past 4 weeks. It's nice to see a little bit of ceiling here. And on Sandy's side, there's not much to kind of frown on here. I mean, 156 points is nothing to scoff at. So just a tough break for Sandy, a team that started out the year 3-1. To take a loss here is tough, but very respectable. So Tyler, we'll start here with you. What do you think?
Yeah, I think we need to stop disrespecting Andrew's team and just calling him 130, 140 points every week. I mean, this is this is proof right in our face that his team can score quite a bit of points, even if his opponent does as well. So, really awesome performance from Andrew's team there. It's so crazy that in 2025, Rico Dowdle eclipsed 200 yards. I would have put that at like less than a 1% chance of happening this year preseason. Um, I put Alvin Kamara in the dud section here, and 9.5 isn't anything super disappointing, but the reason I put him here is because he has been ceding work to Kendre Miller. This past week, only 8 carries. He did have 4 receptions, but Kamara's been a rumored trade target in real NFL. And so Kamara, I'd be a little bit worried about his rest of season outlook, even if he's been fine this year so far. So that's why I put him there. Nothing to add on Sandy's team.
Cevan, your thoughts?
Yeah, for me, tough to get a loss when you're scoring 155.
156, man. Show him some
It's a,
respect.
it's a great week from Sandy. I think the underlying thing, I'm not going to try and spin this in a bad narrative. Just stay with me. So Sumner scored 195. I think, s- and he left room on the table. Like we said, he had 3 people score in single digits. The underlying thing here is he had 5 people not in his lineup score 13, 15, 18, 18, 17. And so while yes, he had a great week. All I'm saying is with how he's constructed his team, some spots it's going to be hard to call your shot. Like leaving this much, it doesn't affect it this week, but leaving this much on your bench per se is like you could be in a spot where you're kicking yourself because you made the wrong decision, blah blah blah. I'm not saying this in a bad way. It's great to have that many options, but to know he could have got that record had he, played it perfectly, very scary. But other comment, just one specific person is Travis Hunter. Um, going into the year, we all had our reservations or whatnot, and he is, to me personally, he's uh, very sketchy. Still has immense upside, but he has yet to get double digits this season. It's every other game he's playing mostly offense, mostly defense, or a 50-50 split. Um, just still something to watch. We still don't really have, I don't think, a concrete answer even 5 games into the season. But he's playing about 50% of the snaps.
Yes. Uh, a deep team as we've touted from the beginning. Something we'll have to watch out here as, again, Sumner continues to put up good weeks. Put some respect on this man's name. A sad matchup here. Tyler betting on himself. Didn't turn out, but still turns in a respectable week, just under league average. But damn, Cam Thorn continues to pile up high scoring weeks. I mean, the dude is unstoppable. 181 points, and his top 5 running backs scored 5 points. I mean, what are we going to do about this guy? Someone's got to take this guy out here. So big weeks all around. Tyler, we'll start with you here. You did pick yourself in this matchup,
Yeah.
standing on some business. Didn't work out. What are your thoughts here?
I mean, it'd be embarrassing if I lost but scored like 90 points. So I'll take a loss with 130 points, and I'll eat that. I'll own it. I mean, I was it was great to see Bill show out. He was Tom Brady's LFG player of the game, so that's a pretty big honor for Bill there. Rose his stock quite a bit. Um, not much else to talk about on my team. Kendrick Bourne, though, was a great spot start off the wire. I'll say it. Um, Cam's team is a bulldozer right now. He had a lot of high performing players. I put Sam Laporta as his stud just because this is Laporta's best game of the year. But you could have put anyone there. You could have put Darnold. You could have put Puka again, of course. Um, so yeah, his team is not one to be messed with. If you're facing him, definitely start. You're definitely think about the lineup you're starting because Cam's team will score a lot of points as he has several weeks this season. James Cook had a stinker, but I don't think that's anything to be too concerned about. Kind of a weird game on Sunday Night Football. So yeah, real Cam's team is you definitely a lot to be said about his team right now.
I do have another message from Cam, longtime listener of the pod. He did tell me Sunday night, I want an apology from Tyler on the pod this week. And I asked, what bulletin board material did he give? And he said, or he clipped the preseason ranking of you putting him 10th in the league. So I will pass along that message. You are not required to apologize, but I wanted to make sure you know that he expects an apology.
I think I owned that in the double drop that we had last week, and I can't. I'd have to double check, but I think I put his team highest amongst us three at that point, and the new rankings.
I can't confirm that. I don't know off the top of my head, but I think that's all you're going to get here, Cam. Sorry, man. Cevan, thoughts on the matchup here?
Yeah, for me, what's scary about this? Well, one, shout out Cam. I know he said he was done with Bryce, but I mean he made the right start in his quarterbacks. He got 32 and 23. The scary thing about this, he's got four playable wide receivers, but he also has Woody Marks on the bench, Ollie Gordon, uh, and
Kendre Miller.
RJ Harvey, and even Kendre Miller. Um, so he's still like he's got replacements everywhere. He's got his own handcuff, which is always nice. I don't need to keep saying I've been on him from the beginning, but we'll skip there, and then we'll get back to you, Tyler. Yeah, you put up 131. Solid week. Never mad if you're scoring 130. It's nice to know you really had no chance losing by 50. So it's not like, I don't know. But with Bill, career high in touches, had 16. My only gripe with you, Tyler, is Kendrick Bourne played on Thursday and you started him in the flex. That is
Shame.
one of my
That's
biggest fantasy football peeves, and that is a sign of a not good manager. So
that.
I
I
know
mean,
you're
that
I
is
know you're
bad.
better than that. So
Yeah. I
I
mean,
just
that
don't.
shows you that the dams I give this season are just not there. They
That's
are, but they aren't.
that's not good, Tyler. I just wanted to point that out.
I know
Um,
you're
don't
totally
let it happen again.
at my best. That's not happening, and I was not at my best.
Okay. Thank you for taking that one and owning up to it right away. That is all
Mhm.
for me.
All I know is that the last 3 weeks of the season, the regular season here, and the pod of me, Ian, Rob, and Cam Thorn is going to be an absolute fucking bloodbath for seeding or playoff appearances. All those are the three double up games that all three of us have, and I don't want to go into that 3 game set expecting or needing wins because that will not be fun.
No,
What's your well, I guess your pod doesn't matter, Tyler, never mind. But
Nice.
it's
my
myself, Swirly, Trent, and Sandy. If you were wondering.
oh, that's a good pod to be in. Mine's Schrader, Sumner, and Cam K. So, Reed, you definitely got the gauntlet of us three, but
It's okay. I'm sitting here at 4-1. I made it out alive.
true, very
Only one I
true.
lost to was Cam Thorne in week 1. So our primetime matchup of the week again put Rob in the primetime matchup, and his matchup delivers once again down to the wire, taking literally a last second tripping or falling his way to victory here, if you will, as Trevor Lawrence missed the handoff to Travis Etienne that would have sealed the game for the Monkas here. takes a 1.7 point victory. About just above average scoring week for both teams. Cevan, we'll start with you here. Thoughts on the tough loss here?
Yeah, this one was super tough. Um, yeah, we both had. I mean, he had a few players underperform. I had a couple as well. Travis Etienne scoring single digits. Drake May scoring well under his average. Um, but yeah, it came down to the wire. I was hyped about this matchup because uh, he had the majority of his team play before I only had one player play, and so it was all coming down to like the Sunday and Monday night games. And yeah, I was up 10 going into the night. Mahomes had 20 points by 10 minutes in the second quarter, and then stopped playing football. So I mean, it was a 1 point game back and forth the entire second half, and I texted these guys, but I hadn't had my heart going like that for specifically fantasy football in a long time, and it is not fun coming on the losing side of that. But I immediately texted Ian at 10:30 and said, "Is that's what it feels like to lose to Rob that close? So tough." And he responded at 11:30 and said, "It fucking sucks." And so, Rob, shout out to you. Close games, your team prevails, and that's all.
No one will argue that Rob has earned his victories this year. That's to say the least.
Yeah.
Savan, rumors have been swirling. Is it true that you go into hibernation after a tough loss until the next week starts?
I am here, and it is not the next week yet, and so that is false. That was a
That's
rumor started by,
misinformation by Rob there.
yes,
Monkas is
yes.
alive and well. Tyler, your thoughts here?
Yeah, I think the better team won here, so that was good to see.
Low blow.
And, looking at Savant's team, again, the quarterback continues to be a weakness for him. Drake May only scoring 12.85 points. That's just not going to cut it. I'm worried about Drake May going forward here. Uh, Savant might need to upgrade his quarterback again, even after just acquiring Justin Fields. That was a rough game from May on Sunday night for sure. Honestly, probably deserves dud more than ETN does, just looking at their projections there, and May falling 7 points short of his.
Okay, that's the most obvious rage bait I've ever heard, but
You want to know what's not
I'll
rage bait, Savan? Is that Drake May is quarterback 14 this year.
that is not he's quarterback 7.
If you want to look at total points and you take out guys who've had a bye, sure. If you look at points per game, he is quarterback 14, just ahead of Marcus Mariota. Thoughts on that? And this is against a
I'm
cupcake schedule prior to last night.
I'm vetting this.
I'm not lying about it, I promise.
I mean, it's fun. You can't deny that if Drake May doesn't take 4 sacks there, you win your matchup against Rob. So,
Or
There's a
scores
lot.
any touchdown whatsoever. I mean,
There's a lot. There's a lot you can say.
all I know is that Mahomes is no more than a low end QB1 on the pod, stamped with approval. And then he comes back to beat his ass here and on Monday night as sitting at quarterback 2 on the year. So
Oh
I think that's
yes,
some vindication.
I forgot to add that stat. Mahomes' first 30-point game since week 7 of 2023, so almost 2 calendar years since Mahomes scored 30 points. And of course, he did it this week. There was
But
no other week it was going to be.
can we agree that you sold him at his floor now? You sold him at the absolute lowest he'll ever be.
Is that all right?
That's usually not a good strategy, personally.
Well, we'll cross that bridge when we get there.
The bridge is here.
We'll cross it again
We're
another
wrapping
day.
up week 5. I had a perfect week of picks this week. Self glaze. Welcome to my segment here. I'm now in a 5-game lead over Tyler, 6-game lead over Cevan. You middle of the pack fellas here. You're bringing up the rear. Got a lot of ground to make up, but we do have some different picks this week in our week 6 preview. Getting into our first matchup of the week for week 6, we have there we go. We have Cam Thorn versus Schrader, a 1 versus 12 matchup here. the highest scoring team in the league, the lowest scoring team in the league, number 1 in the standings, number 12, a powerhouse versus a powerless house here.
Coffin Baby versus Nuclear
Yes,
Bomb.
thank you. Thank you. That's what I was
Yeah.
trying to convey here. All of us are taking the top scoring team in the league here. Anything else to add on this one, or is this a quick move on for us?
Just for me, I'm just their averages. Schrader averages 100 and Cam averages 162. So that's what I'm expecting, if not a larger gap.
What would
Um,
you? Let's create a spread. Right, I'll create a spread.
60 and a
Cam.
half.
Okay, you're creating the spread of 60.5 here.
Yeah, and
Okay,
I'll take the over.
like you'll take the Cam side.
Yeah.
I'll take the
Well,
under on that.
he'll win by more than 60.
I'll take the under on that.
Yeah, I'm with Reed. I think Trade covers.
I mean, you think about Chuba might be playing. Jacobs is back off of bye for him. Uh, yeah, that's really all I got. 60
Yeah.
points. 60 points
I
is a
mean,
lot.
Is
So
there a possibility Purdy's back this week?
Yeah.
maybe would he even start him though over Rattler or Dart? I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. But I am taking the under as well. That yeah, I agree. That is the better question for this matchup. I mean, when you start setting lines for every game, that'd be much cooler than just picking the money line.
It
Yeah.
would be.
Second matchup of the week, we have Rob, we have Schrader, 3-2 teams that got there in very different ways. But regardless, some interesting lineups that are going to have to get put out there. Rob dealing with some injuries and some bye weeks, making this matchup a little closer than the true talent would suggest on the season as a whole. I'm picking the upset here. I am taking Sandy. You guys are both taking Rob. Cevan, we'll start with you here. You're taking Rob in this matchup. Why is that?
Yeah, I mean, Rob's hot. They're both 3-2. So this is a big win for whoever gets the win. But yeah, I just like Rob's higher end a little bit more. You know, the concerns with AJ Brown. Obviously, the Goffdale ball hogs are getting Bijan back, so that's some added firepower. But you know, Rob's quarterbacks plus or his Jetta's on bye.
He's on
Oh,
bye.
he is on bye. That's bad managerialness by me. He's starting the double wide receivers for the Dolphins, which should be fun. But
Against the Dolphins, not for the Dolphins.
yes, sorry. Just Rob's kind of taking the aura that Tyler lost, and so that's where I'm taking it in this matchup.
It's a crazy stray.
Yeah, I don't really know how that works. I don't know how the math checks out there, but Tyler, will pass it to you after that. You're taking Rob in this one.
Yeah, he was my number one rated team in my updated power rankings, and that's because he can weather the storm of a Justin Jefferson bye. His team still looks good from top to bottom in that starting lineup. So it was still pretty easy for me to take Robert there, even with Jefferson on bye. I think he has enough pieces there to still win this matchup.
Yeah, I'm taking Sandy here. I think it got mentioned. Bijan back off of a bye, fresh off of a bye. Likewise with Tucker Kraft. Rob is dealing with an injury to Bucky and a bye week to Jefferson, which are both two very key players for his team, as well as starting two Chargers wide receivers, which, as we all know, limits the ceiling he can achieve by having two pass catchers in the same offense. So I'm telling again, it doesn't seem like it should be an upset. We're talking about the number 4 versus the number 6 team, 2-3-2 teams, but it does feel like an upset given how strongly we view Rob's team compared to Sandy's. So I'm taking Sandy here. I'm going with the upset, putting my perfect record on the line here.
I respect it.
Another matchup, not nearly as intriguing. We have Sumner coming off the second highest scoring week in league history, sitting at 3-2, proving us podcast hosts who call him a floor team dead wrong, versus Tyler. No more further comment.
I didn't know if you were going to say something there.
And I'm taking this man to pull the upset.
Oh,
I'm
God.
thinking about the roller coaster of a season, all the performances that Sumner got last week. The Jaguars coming off a hotly contested win against the Chiefs. The Buccaneers coming off a very high scoring win against the Seahawks. I think his two quarterbacks both have down weeks. I think Chuba Hubbard is back, so Rico Dowdle no longer becomes an obvious start. Alvin Kamara continues to seed work, much to the dismay of my redraft team. Travis Kelce, he's going to catch like 4 touchdowns. But other than that, I'm taking Tyler here for the big upset. I think this is officially the Bill breakout 2.0. I hope he doesn't start Kendrick Bourne because that means Jawan Jennings is starting. Terry McLaurin back in the lineup. Cam Ward breakout game. Raiders defense straight ass. Trey McBride's going to be getting the ball a lot. They're going to be trailing to the Colts. Can't believe I'm saying that, but here we are. And I'm sure Charbonnet will average 3 yards a carry and vulture 3 touchdowns from a vastly superior running back in his running mate, Kenneth Walker. So I'm taking Tyler here for the big upset over Sumner. Tyler, your thoughts on my spiel and your pick?
Yeah, you might have swayed me. You might have gotten me to buy back into my team. No, just kidding. I don't. I mean, it feels like kind of a fool's errand there picking my team, but I I mean, it's not a 0% chance that I win there. So I just went with Sumner's team, who is coming off the best performance of probably his dynasty
It's the second
whole
highest scoring
season.
league in league
Yeah,
history, so it
yeah.
is the best of his career.
So I'll buy high on Andrew's team. I think he keeps it rolling. I'll still put out my best lineup there. I'll get Terry in there. We'll see if Kendrick Bourne is starting or not. But I do have some soft matchups, and so if I am gonna pull off this win, it is gonna have to be with JCM, Devontae, maybe DJ Moore having
Well,
some pretty
probably not.
solid games. It would be,
Will s-
I
I
would
will
on
say,
go ahead.
sorry, you said DJ Moore. Reed said probably not. I will say DJ Moore's best game of his career was like
I
eight
remember
for
that.
240 and 3 against the Commanders
I remember
in
that.
prime time.
I
So
think it was like a Thursday night game, wasn't it?
yeah,
Yeah, I remember that.
Nice.
so there is
Yeah,
Good
that caveat.
I'm
good
taking the
call.
trap game here. This is the definition of a trap game for Sumner, coming off a big win against a team that seems feeble and defenseless. I'm
Yeah.
taking the trap game. Cevan,
Can't, yeah.
or Tyler, do you have someone else?
I was just gonna say one more thing. Cam Ward has faced a handful of tough defenses to start the year, so I am hoping that this is the Cam Ward breakout game. Whether I win or lose, I'm hoping to see. That's who I have my eye on this week on my team.
Cevan?
Yeah, it'd be nice for you to get it. Just give him a cupcake defense and let's get Alick in the end zone. And then I actually thought of this more as a coin flip, believe it or not.
Wow.
Um,
I don't.
just with the matchups, Tyler has great matchups outside of McBride, but I'd rather McBride be the one with a bad matchup because he's really matchup proof. But yeah, I like the vibe of your team this week specifically. Tyler, like we said, Charbonnet is pretty much a bet to take one of Kenneth Walker's touchdowns. Bill coming off the most volume of his career, having over 150 total yards against the Chargers. Now gets the worst ranked run defense in the league against Chicago on prime time, last game of the week. That'll be a fun watch for all parties involved. Um, and yeah, we already talked about DJ Moore against Washington. Uh, Devontae gets a cupcake, Jair Alexander Baltimore. I like your team. I know I didn't pick you, but I think it's way more of a coin flip
Did I
and definitely.
sway everybody to Tyler's side here?
Oh, I can't put coin flip on the slide. I have to pick one.
Okay, well, I guess the coin turned up Sumner. I love you, man, but watch out for the trap game. A very interesting matchup here. Ian sitting at 2-3, as I mentioned, perhaps rudely, coming up on a potentially cupcake part of his schedule, with Trent here sitting at what feels like a very fraudulent 3-2. If you can believe it, Trent is 10th in the league in points for, despite being 3-2 here. Swerly is cursing Trent's name, but here we are, and Ian at 2-3 is 4th in the league in scoring. Tyler is the one picking an upset here. He is taking Trent over what I would say is the favored team in Ian. Cevan, we'll start with you real quick. Probably not much to say here. I think both of us are taking the team we think is just stronger overall, right?
Yeah, definitely. The way Trent has to win this is he's gotta have a ceiling week from everybody. Everybody's got to score a lot of points. They got to perform to their potential. He's got to have Brock Bowers back, and not only back, actually playing like, you know, the best tight end in football, and he hasn't done that this year. Ian just has a way higher ceiling. We did talk about uh, him losing Hampton, and now he's forced to play Chase Brown, which kind of sucks. But uh, you got Rashad White in place of Bucky, so pretty lucky. Got
Yeah,
Daniel
that's
Jones
quite
for
lucky.
a fourth when things seemed down early in the offseason. That was also extremely lucky. So luck to some extent has been on Ian's side. However, he finds himself at 2-3, fighting for a playoff spot. So I think he'll have this one pretty handedly, but
Mhm.
another potential trap game.
Yeah, I don't see it as much as a heavy favorite as Cevan does here. We know what's going on with Ian's team. Stafford has potentially the best matchup in football at this point against the Ravens defense. Not sure if Bowers plays, but if he does, I could see this as a very close matchup here. I'm starting to come around on Trent's team some. Eagles are throwing the ball. His rookie running backs are both performing. I see it. This might be the Pacheco breakout game as well. So I can see the path for Trent here, but I did not take this upset. I'm staying with Ian, who I think is the better team in the situation. And it is also notable Ricky Pearsall did not practice yesterday, coming off a missed game and a long weekend, did not practice. So if he's out, he's going to be down starting Cooper Kupp, which two of the three of us on the pod were out on him before and are still out on him now. Not sure if Tyler's thoughts have changed. We're going to Tyler now. He's taken the upset here. He's taken Trent. Why is that, Tyler?
I'm gonna continue to. I need to see it one more week from Ian's team here. I still think the running backs are something an issue with Travion Henderson. It's gotten to a point where you kind of just have to believe the results to a degree that there's something going on with him in New England and Mike Vrabel, that you can't just keep putting him in your lineup every week and expecting that breakout performance at any given point if he has been doing what he's been doing up to this point so far. I'm still scared of Chase Brown, Brian Thomas, and although Igbuka's been great, he has caught 5 touchdowns to start the year, which is quite a bit. So if Buka isn't catching a touchdown this week, that would hurt Ian's team a little bit. I mean, no duh. So yeah, I'm rooting for Trent here. I think Trent can win this matchup, and so I'll ride with his team, and I'll piggyback on Quinshon Judkins and Scadaboo's back.
Yeah, also notable, obviously Hampton on IR and also Nico Collins on bye for Ian. And
Yeah.
I think it's hard to understate how much the Brian Thomas regression to start the year has hurt the ceiling of his team. I mean, him and Nico it's not just the quarterbacks. He's also got two top wideouts, and that has really hurt the ceiling of what he's been able to do this year. So we'll see if
I
that bounces back this week.
I want to say something, but then if I speak it into existence, I feel like the opposite's going to happen.
Okay.
Should I just should I
You
just
should say it.
Well, you
should I
just
send it?
tantalized us, so you might as well say it.
Yeah. I think there's a real shot that Ian is sub 100 this week.
Wow.
Wow. Okay,
That's pretty bold, considering
that
Cevan
is
projected him to score 230 points like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, well, hey, now that I've said it, that's what's going to happen this week.
That'd
we'll
be
see.
fair.
But before we move on, you touched on a point, Reed, about Isaiah Pacheco. All I want to say, I want to shout him out. He had in game 5, he had his season-long rush of 9 yards. Congratulations,
That's
Mr.
just
Pacheco.
blatantly false. He had a 17-yard run last night. Blatantly false.
Dang, I thought it was 9, but
No,
still.
it was 17, and he had another double-digit run called back as well. We're on here to the mini primetime matchup of the week. The two commissioners going head-to-head. Championship game from last year. Myself sitting at 4-1, Cevan sitting at 3-2, coming out of hibernation after a tough loss. And I'm taking myself in a game where I may not be starting a second quarterback over Cevan, the reigning league champion. Projected points are nearly identical at this point. We'll see how that adjusts throughout the week. We'll see if I can make a move. But the boys are hot. I put up a stacked number of good weeks in a row here. Uh, I just feel good about my revenge matchup against Cevan. Would have liked to have won the one in December last year, but I'll take one in October this year, and we'll see if I see him again in the postseason. So, Tyler, you're also taking Cevan here. Your thoughts?
Yeah, you not starting a quarterback would be big for Savant's team. I don't really like anyone you would put in that super flex spot. Derrick Henry is definitely worrisome right now. And then Garrett Wilson, who has been good, will likely be strapped by Pat Surtain. So those are just some of the big names on your side that I wanted to mention. And hopefully Savan can get a double-digit game out of Drake May. Something at least like 15 points would be nice for Drake May and Savan's team. But overall, I think his team can make up for Drake's lower floor.
I mean, how much more can you expect from a QB2? I mean, you just don't know what you're getting on a week-to-week basis. So,
Yeah.
Cevan, your record betting against me this year has been very poor, but yet you're doing it again here. Why is that?
Um, well, in this matchup, I'm never going to pick against myself. But realistically, I think of all 6 matchups this week, this is as close to a coin flip as there is. The lineup or the lineups are fairly similar outside of the quarterbacks. I mean, the matchups in this game are, Rome versus Jamar, tight end 1 versus tight end 2, and Ferguson and Kincaid. It's a lot of firepower, and I give the place I give myself the edge personally is running back, and I think that's what flips the coin. I think we would agree Gibbs over Henry and ETN over Walker.
Why are you talking about this as if it's a bunch of one-on-one matchups? It's not. It's the
Well,
combination of everybody.
yeah, and then that's where I'm giving the edge.
Did
Either
you?
way, I think it'll be close. I'll pick myself in a close matchup.
I'd like to speak something into existence now as well.
Okay, and then me.
Okay, mine's not that crazy. So whatever off the hook shit you're gonna say, maybe just tone it down a little bit. I think Jahmyr Gibbs in a very tough matchup against the Chiefs posts his first single digit game since 2023.
Okay.
Um, to comment on that real quick, in the 5 games played this year, uh, in quarters 1 through 3, Gibbs gets roughly 75% of the work. In the games where Monty goes off is when they've been putting belt to teams, and then he just grinds out the fourth quarter. And I think this will finally be a game the Lions play where it's tight the whole game, and so you don't get as much Monty. And so I very much disagree with your sentiment, but I understand what you're saying. That's just hard to bottle up a player as explosive as Jahmyr. But one thing I'll speak into existence, because you love to do it, is having players playing against you in prime time after you. And we have a London versus Odunze Monday night doubleheader. London starts before
And Kincaid.
and
Yeah.
yes. Yes. But then you're the Buffalo Falcons game starts at 6:15 and then Rome right after. So that last hour after Drake and Kincaid get done, I'm sure you'll be very happy.
I'm not gonna lie to you. I feel like that's kind of been a thing of the past for me because I bring it up all the time, but since the 2023 season, it hasn't been that big of an issue. Like I don't think I've lost games in prime time at a higher rate than usual, like average. 2023 was the brutal one for me when T. Higgins would leave every game early. Joe Burrow got like it's just a mess. So
Mhm.
I'm not saying it won't happen here because it happens to everybody, but I think I might retire that narrative here unless that shit starts happening again. So we'll see.
Well, hopefully it happens this week because
I
I think
think it'll
that's
be in
my
hand by the time that happens.
we'll see, but I think that's my preferred method of victory is Roma Dunze Monday Night Football game-winning touchdown and beat you.
Well, we wouldn't want you to lose another game to somebody who's not starting 2 quarterbacks in their lineup.
Yeah,
So
that would be tough. That would be like all my opponents last year.
I know. Cupcake schedule. Finally,
Prime time matchup.
our primetime matchup of the week. We have Swerly versus Cam K. Cam K coming off the biggest scoring week of his season so far, and Swerly coming off a very tough loss, sitting at a very dangerous 1-4 for one of the teams that we all see as one of the stronger in the league. But yet here we are picking a sweep. And if you don't mind, I'll lead off here. This one was pretty easy for me. Cam K doesn't have CJ Stroud this week. He is on bye, which means he's relegated to starting Darius Slayton in his superflex, which is never an attractive option. George Kittle's not coming off IR this week, so just really tough for him. I enjoy having a primetime matchup like this, but the buys really hurt him, and I believe Swerly, after a lot of bye weeks last week, is almost at full health minus the CD Lamb injury. So, Tyler, we'll pass to you here. You're also taking Swerly.
Yeah, I mean, just to touch on again why this primetime matchup in my eyes, it's make or break for Deshaun's team. Even if we still think his team's good, it's going to be really difficult for him to claw back into a playoff spot if he's 1-5. And then this is a matchup where Camp K can kind of separate himself if he grabs a win here and is 4-2 heading into week 7. So I don't know if that's was your guys' thinking, but that was my thinking in selecting this as a primetime matchup. But yeah, going with Deshaun as well. Yeah, for the same reason you said, because of Stroud there, top to bottom. Deshaun's team looks good, and there's some pretty soft matchups there, including Saquon against the Giants on Thursday night.
Cevan, you're also taking Swerly here.
Yeah, I think if you're just looking on paper, this is really easy. But you know, Cam K is 3-2, coming off a great week. That bottom half of his lineup, really tough to look at. But this is just a must win for Swerly. If he loses this, can almost guarantee he's not making the playoffs. I don't know if he's listening. I'm not suggesting anything. He does have, I'm not going to say who it even is, but he does have a couple options in his lineup that don't seem optimal.
What are no one cares. Come on, man, get out of here. Stop backseat driving.
No, I'm just saying. But and nonetheless, yeah, if Deshaun, if you're listening, you already know this. You've been texting me on the side. You lose and you're pretty much done. Tyler's that trade for what was the one that got you
Say
this pick? Was it
Flowers.
yeah, that got this, and then Addison
Yes,
was the 27.
correct.
Yeah, so I mean, that's going to be very tough to swallow.
The
Committing, well, I was going to say committing your first round picks obviously means you're you have to play for, you're all in for that season, whatever. And so giving somebody else a top 6 pick is tough. I know Tyler loves it. Couldn't be happier with how this season started, probably.
23% playoff odds per my calculations. What are you guys' thoughts on that? Do you think that's pretty accurate for a team of his strength, sitting at 1-4? Do you think that should be higher or lower?
I
think
think
it's
lower.
I think it's about right.
Yeah, it's tough. Like I said, his schedule has not seen a lot of the big boys in the league yet. So he, as to say the least, on an uphill climb here. But to circle back as well, Tyler now has the first round picks of the 9th, 10th, and 11th team in the standings at this moment. Combined has the 31% chance between those 3 picks to get the number 1 pick. Tyler's start of the season could not have gone better for everything other than the players on your team. So it's looking good so far. Wrapping up here, any last thoughts here on week 5 recap, week 6 preview? I'll open the floor to you fellas.
It's about
Yeah,
good.
I was just gonna say teams. I mean, the 3rd through the 8th team, all 3-2. So, I mean, at this point in the season, standings can flip every single week.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yes, those. I mean, yeah, the 2 teams outside the playoff bubble Kay and Trent. I mean, one win this week and they're right on the inside. Ian's that only 2-3 team looking to fight his way in, and then Deshaun really a last ditch effort here to, make a run. I think after this week we'll have a more clear picture trade wise on teams that really want to start getting aggressive. Because outside of outside of us three, there really hasn't been anything going on, and so I think that'll start to shift here pretty shortly after this week.
What week's the trade deadline?
12.
12. Okay.
Yeah,
I've
still a ways to go.
I've just never seen standings that look like this. Like
Yeah.
the fact that 8 of the 12 teams are above 500. Like obviously that requires a couple of teams losing a lot of games, and obviously Schrader helps that. And then the 2, 1, and 4 teams help that. But like the fact that 8 of the 12 teams are above 500, I don't agree. I think we're still going to be waiting a few weeks for the playoff picture to get more clear before teams are willing to send players away for picks. And even if every 3-3 or 3-2 team loses, they're still sitting at 3-3, and 7-7 is what you need to have a chance at the playoffs here. So I still think we're going to be waiting a few weeks until we get more clarity to kind of loosen up the trade market, I guess.
I mean,
I more or less meant people coming to buy off
Yeah.
Tyler's team.
Well,
Not-
Tyler
not
already plugged his
necessarily
team to buy once on the pod here. Might as well do it again.
Yeah, but I not necessarily meaning other teams will sell, because to me personally, I guess to me there's 9 teams I'm looking at. I've already Deshaun, I've already counted you out this year.
That's just brutal.
So yeah,
I
to me
disagree as well.
That's fine. That's fine. But to me, there's 9 teams really fighting for those 6 spots, and after this week, it'll get more clear. I mean, if Deshaun does catch a win, we'll see. But Tyler,
I was just gonna say, even if the standings remain, like, even if it becomes a little more clear, I don't necessarily think people will sell just because they're out of the playoffs picture a little more clearly. Like, I think there's a real chance that there's only 2 true sellers.
yeah,
I agree.
I was more talking the buying aspect.
Tyler,
No,
you have the potential here to just price gouge the shit out of the market here. If there's 9 teams trying to win, it's you, Schrader, and maybe one other team that might have fallen out. You have a chance here with the vets that you have to really corner people into paying more than they want, because might not be that many people trying to trade away pieces.
Yeah,
well, I
for
mean,
sure.
yeah, the problem is people have to come to the table. I'm there. I ordered already. I'm waiting for someone else to join me.
All I'll say here about Swerly's team is he has Cam K without CJ Stroud in a very winnable matchup. He has Schrader. Sorry, he has Sumner and then Schrader. So like those are all, not saying that any of those teams, sorry, not saying two of those 3 teams are bad, but those are 3 very winnable matchups that get him right back to 500 before he hits Cevan, Rob, and Ian in 3 straight weeks. So I don't think this is. I'm far from counting out Swerly, and then again as he ends the year with Tyler, Sandy, and Trent as his double up game. So I'm far from counting him out. I still think his team is incredibly strong, and he has a favorable schedule here to get back on track.
Yeah.
Swerly, I got you, man.
No, I've already said it once. I'm going to say it again. Tyler, from a from a fun fantasy football perspective, this the spot you're in just seems like so much fun. And
Good.
no, it's eventually one day, probably 2028, 2029, I'll be there. But I want to be in your spot one day, where like my team right now is just so old and just I got nothing going for me, where I can just have fun for a year. Not that I'm not having fun, but the rebuilding aspect just feels like you're rebuilding a team on Madden.
Now Tyler's going to say it's not that fun if nobody wants to trade for my players.
But they will.
That, and also it's like it's making it more difficult to live in the moment and actually enjoy week to week football. Like I still do, and I'm more so just watching for my redraft team at this point, honestly. But it's like I told you guys, it's got me already looking at the 2026 mock drafts and everything like that, the college prospects, and
Yeah.
that's fun. Don't get me wrong, but I do notice that I'm not necessarily like me starting Kendrick Bourne in a flex spot is just proof of that. That's just a lapse that I wouldn't have if I was more engaged
Yep.
in how my team's doing this year. Like I've come to terms with it and it's fine. And don't get me wrong, there it is kind of fun just to know I can feast in spring when
Yeah.
I draft 1,000 rookies.
1,000.
But
It's
Wow.
like
yeah,
it's like the off season is your regular season for a year.
yeah, but
But
Okay. Well, we'll wrap up here. A very fun episode from our end. Hope you guys enjoyed listening, and we'll see you next week.